Hey everybody, David the AI Guide here. Welcome to another episode. Click the link below, get your free AI resource. The information is all free, and guess what? Within a few years, you're going to have to know basic AI to do your work, and that's how it's rolling. So why not start to learn now? Why not be ahead of the curve? Click the link below, get your free resource. Also, be sure to get my book on Amazon, The Beginner's Guide to AI. It's a very easy, very quick read. It has a history of AI and how AI is already impacting 10 different industries. It's cheap. It's on Amazon. Check it out, The Beginner's Guide to AI. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And today's news is courtesy of the Wall Street Journal. So employers are increasingly looking to artificial intelligence to help them shore up their workforce. Why is this happening? By automating previously manual tasks like pre-screening job applicants for basic qualifications, checking credentials like professional licenses, and scheduling follow-up interviews, employers are hoping to streamline the hiring process and scoop up available workers before competitors move in. So the job market has gotten very, very competitive for a number of reasons. The first reason is that for a lot of people who were getting close to retirement, when COVID hit, they said, that's it, I'm done. And the workforce is, here in the US alone, is 2 million people smaller than it was before COVID. So early retirement was triggered for a lot of people. Beyond that, there's a lot of people who are out sick during this latest wave of COVID, Omicron, and companies are experiencing significant staffing shortages, and they're having a lot of trouble getting new employees. So they're looking to AI to basically scan Indeed and LinkedIn and all this other stuff and try to find people and reach out to them to get them before the competition does, because the job market right now is very, very competitive. And as we've all heard, this has resulted in what they're calling, they always have to come up with some name for stuff, the Great Resignation. Well, no, this is people in a tight job market trading up for a better job and not wanting to do, you'll forgive me for saying this, shitty jobs anymore. There's some jobs that are just bad, and people now, if they have a choice and they can get a better job, are not going to keep wanting to do those bad jobs anymore. Those jobs, by the way, are highly likely to be automated early on because they're having so much trouble getting people to work them. But that's not what this episode is about. The article from WSJ goes on to say, U.S. hiring slowed in December. Employers added 199,000 new jobs compared to the average job growth in 2021 of 537,000 a month. But that sounds like a big number, but keep in mind that millions of jobs were lost in 2020 that they're not talking about. In fact, as I just said, employment is still millions of jobs less than it was before the pandemic, although 2 million people have opted out. AI tool caveats. Some say AI tools miss crucial aspects of the job placement process, such as conveying company culture. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Some lawmakers have called for more scrutiny of AI tools in hiring, saying the use of such software can result in unintentional bias against candidates. Well, we have talked about that for at least a year on the AI Guide. We've been ahead of this curve. And the reason why is because Europe, a year ago, banned using AI to screen job candidates because of inherent bias in the algorithms. So when you get to what is AI, AI is software. AI is a computer program written to process lots of information very, very quickly, but it was written by a human being. And if the data used to program that algorithm was skewed, then the results coming out of the algorithm will be skewed. And in fact, it's been proven with regard to screening. Some of the biggest tech companies in the world, Google and Facebook, stopped using this technology to screen candidates. Why? Because it was discriminating against minorities and women. So the US needs to follow Europe's lead and create meaningful legislation and regulations that restricts the use of AI in circumstances where it can be clearly harmful to human beings. One of those is hiring. Another we've talked about is deciding whether people get loans. That's not good to let AI do that. Another one we've talked about is putting AI in charge of critical infrastructure like water systems or electric systems or stuff like that. The AI is not there yet to trust it with those kind of critical systems. It just isn't. With a human in the loop, okay, yes. And in fact, we've talked about cobots, how the big thing in industrial settings right now is not robots replacing people, but robots that work collaboratively, that's cobot, with people and does not replace them. It just helps them. And so there's many uses of AI that are extremely positive. We've talked about a lot of them. But hiring is one where it flat out shouldn't be allowed. And furthermore, I want to talk about company culture. One thing that has become clear to me since I've been in my career a number of years now is that no different than any other institution, leadership matters, leadership counts. So what do I mean by this? The company culture is set by the boss. So if the boss is a jerk, that's the culture you get. If the boss is inspirational, that's the culture you get. And this just isn't just work. Think about it. This is your religious institution, whether it's a church or a synagogue or a mosque or whatever it is, the leader counts. Same with schools. Have you noticed that there is a profound difference, even within the same school system, on the performance of given schools based entirely on who the principal is? I saw that with my own kids. So leadership matters. And in order to really know if you want to work somewhere, especially in a market where the job seeker is in charge, like right now, instead of the companies being in charge in a bad job market, you want to pick somewhere with the right culture. And clearly AI is not positioned to communicate the culture of a company. But now there's nothing wrong, I don't think, with an AI proactively reaching out to people who might be interested in a job to see if they're interested, and then it's up to the individual to do the interview and research culture and all that stuff to make a good decision. Let's take an example. Let's say you are a staff accountant and you got a call from a company because staff accountants are in shortage right now. And the higher level accounting positions are in serious shortage, except for the top accounting and finance positions, CFO. There's a glut of former CFOs, but look how many controller openings there are. But anyway, let's say you're a staff accountant and an algorithm identifies you as a candidate for a senior staff accountant position. That's good. That's okay. That's an okay use. Why? Because it's up to you to proactively be looking for jobs at the same time that these algorithms are looking for candidates. And you apply whether the algorithm has identified you or not. So that's okay, I think, but again, regulation is needed, protection of human beings is needed. And this is one of my core themes here is people first, AI second. People first, AI second. So thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Click the link below, get your free resource. Totally free. The resource is free. Everything in the resource is free. You're going to start to learn about AI, which you will have to have in 2 or 3 years, knowledge of to do your jobs if you have any kind of office job and probably any kind of production job. But also be sure to check out my book on Amazon, The Beginner's Guide to AI, because it's really a great read and you'll enjoy it and it's quick. So thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.